Global warming has made a drastic change on the melting of the Arctic ice caps and continues to do so. Greenhouse gases in the atmosphere continue to increase due to the burning of fossil fuels, which is causing temperatures to rise. This rise in temperature is causing the ice caps to recede, glaciers to melt, and sea levels to rise. In the 90s, space-borne synthetic aperture radar interferometry technique, as well as remote sensing data based on airborne and satellite lasers, had allowed the first observation of the ice sheets. NASA Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment satellite mission was a new form of recovering mass measurements of ice sheets, which came about in 2002. These scientific advancements allowed us to realize that the Arctic is one of the largest contributors to the rise in sea level. The large loss of ice is due to the average temperature in this area increasing at twice the rate of the rest of the world. Since 2000, the Arctic has had some of its warmest summers, with 4 of their hottest days occurring after 2004. Since this dramatic increase in warm weather, scientists have been able to see from the ice that has been monitored a large loss of surface mass. This loss of surface mass is contributing to the rise in sea level, which could greatly affect low-lying coastal areas. With the continuation of global warming, there is fear that the increase in heat will cause ice shelves to break off, which will create large icebergs and release inland ice, which would lead to a rise in sea levels of several meters. The melting of the ice caps is not only worrisome as it's causing sea levels to rise, but polar bears are also losing their habitat, which is leading to a great decline in their population numbers. In just 20 years, there has been an increase of 20 extra ice-free days, which is cutting the polar bears' hunting season down by almost 3 weeks. Due to them losing these days, their body condition has been greatly affected, with a 15% loss in average body weight. Polar bears spend most of their time on the ice, and since the ice has started to break apart, it is becoming more difficult for them to find food, which is causing a decrease in reproduction rates. This duration without food has caused their behavior to change, as some of them have turned to cannibalistic behaviors. As the ice sheets start to melt, they have larger areas they have to swim in order to get from one piece of ice to the next. The larger gaps between the ice means harsher water conditions they must swim through. These conditions make the travel hazardous, which will cause many of them to die due to drowning. One way in which we can prevent the ice caps from melting at this continuous rate is to cut down on CO2 emissions, which will slow down the increase of temperature rise. Another way, which is cheaper and faster acting, is the conservation of rainforests and the regrowing of more trees, as rainforests pull carbon out of the atmosphere. The protection of rainforests and the growth of new trees would help stabilize atmospheric CO2, which would greatly contribute to the slowing down of the melting of the ice caps. In conclusion, the melting of the Arctic ice caps is a major environmental issue, as it is causing a large depletion in number of certain animal species and is causing sea levels to rise that could ultimately destroy the land, creating a large loss in plant and animal diversity. Due to these major issues, a management plan needs to be put into action in order to prevent these situations from getting far worse than they already are.